Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Corissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. The other day, I went for a walk around a neighborhood park, and I saw a woman pushing a child in a swing. The moment itself was sweet, hearing the exchange of words, the giggles, and the kid expressing interest in my dog Cleveland. There was a sense of peace, like there was nothing pulling them to be rushing off to do the next thing or be in the next place. They were enjoying the moment in the moment. Now, as a mother of teenagers, I thought back to the time when my kids were that age, and it reminded me of the feelings of overwhelm that contributed to me not being able to be in the now. In my kids' younger years, I was constantly feeling pulled in another direction, so preoccupied with what I needed to do and what I had coming in the future that I was unable to be present in the moment. I was unable to enjoy what was going on. People around me had given me the advice of enjoy my kids while they're little or to sleep while they're sleeping, but it wasn't something I was capable of doing because how I was viewing life. I was stressed out. I was anxious. I was depressed. I was experiencing panic attacks. I also didn't feel like I had a connection with my partner or support from him or other people in my life. And so this little situation that I saw at the park got me thinking about how so much of the time we are fighting against our reality, worrying or thinking about the past or the future, and creating a stress cycle that can crush us. Or pushing people away because we feel a sense of shame for not being able to manage what so many other people seem to do so effortlessly. I know exactly how that feels because I did it to myself the entire time my kids were young. No matter what I was doing with the kids or where we were, I always experienced this nagging feeling that I needed to be doing something else or be somewhere else, that I wasn't where I needed to be. And every experience for me was tense as a result. I wasn't fully able to enjoy the kids or my life in these moments as a result. So let's talk about what gets in the way of being here now. There is a concept in quantum physics that I like to think about here. It's the concept of superposition. It's the concept that things, atoms and particles, can be in multiple states at the same time, and that it's when we interact with them or observe them that they become the thing we measure or the thing we observe. When I think back to the days when I was unskilled at being in the now, I was in a state of superposition because instead of collapsing my reality to be present in the moment, I was staying in a place of being in the past or the future, depending on what was holding my focus in that moment. There are a few reasons why we might stay in the emotional superposition. The first being prioritizing others. Whether this is from a lack of boundaries or constantly wanting to ensure that you are tending to the needs of others, it keeps you in a state of limbo, waiting for someone or something to need your attention. Having to be in a constant state of quantum superposition, holding the potential to be all things at all times, keeps you stuck and paralyzed. And the funniest thing is that by prioritizing others and being in this superposition, you aren't showing up for them either. The second is needing to get it right. Nobody wants to disappoint the people around them, and so it will lead you to overanalyze everything. You will ruminate on past situations that went poorly. You may berate yourself for making mistakes and then carry that worry and fear into future events and fret about making future mistakes. Many times this will lead you to avoid doing things because you don't want to re-experience the emotions that follow making the mistakes. And third, emotional overwhelm. Everything becomes too much when you're trying to be all the things to all the people all the time. The minutia, the options, the details, the time constraints, these things will cause you to freeze and not make any decisions or choices, and you'll probably avoid virtually anything. So the first thing I want to point out is that being in the emotional and mental superposition is extremely exhausting. When you're caught in a thought loop that is preventing you from making a decision, or you're using your mental bandwidth to beat yourself up for things that have already happened or might happen, you don't leave yourself with as much space to be present. And a double whammy that comes with all this emotional and mental exhaustion is the inability to sleep well. Struggling to be in the now impacts your ability to feel connected to yourself, to the people around you, as well as with your intuition and divine connection. You may find that you shun social situations in order to avoid the overwhelming emotions or stimuli, but this cutting yourself off will also trigger your fear of missing out, and that will just add to all the layers of emotional turmoil that you experience. You may also compensate for this by not doing things or taking on a need to be constantly busy as a way to not have to think about all the things that are swirling in your mind. You may find yourself zoning out or scrolling on your phone or binge watching that new series on Netflix and avoiding your own self-care and well-being, which again leads to more stress and anxiety. Whatever way it is that you experience the impact of struggling to be present in the current moment, it never leads to feeling calm, cool, and relaxed so that you can show up the way you want to for the people you want to be around. So one of the ways you can overcome the obstacles to being present in the moment is to learn how to not use your thoughts about your past and your future as a weapon against yourself. We can never go back in time or out into the future to change what is or what might be. We only have the power to control who we are, what we think, and what we do now. When you learn how to be the observer of your thoughts, you get the opportunity to notice all the ways your brain is trying to pull you in different directions or present you with your negative patterns of thinking. And with this skill of observing your thoughts, you create a chance for you to evaluate whether these thoughts are true and worth your time to focus on. Let's apply this concept to the scenario of the woman with the child in the park. Presumably, they had planned on the outing and made the time in the day to go. What you may find yourself doing is worrying about what you're making for dinner or how you will manage picking up your other kids from school. These thoughts on the surface are innocent. But when they monopolize your mind and then take you down the rabbit hole of all the times when maybe you showed up late or didn't get dinner prepared at the usual time or any of the other perceived failures, that is what pulls you out from being present in the moment and hinders your ability to be here now. It may be true that you need to think about these things, but you may be able to notice that you don't need to think about them right then. When we're so focused on the future, worrying about outcomes and what could be, we steal our immediate happiness from ourselves because we're in the future, not here, and vice versa for when we're fixated on the past. When you can embrace that your thoughts are things that arise and that you don't have to immediately believe them or engage with them, they no longer can dictate your emotions. So you get to be more compassionate towards yourself and can start to build self-safety around things from your past or potentially in your future. We spoke in episode 12 about learning to be okay when things don't work out so that you can commit to the decision you're making. And that skill is relevant here. To stay again with the example of the woman in the park, if she's confident in her decision to be in the park right then with the child, and she's confident that she can handle whatever might come up after, she's better able and better equipped to enjoy being in the park with the child instead of being fixated on all the what ifs. Depending on how you're finding yourself affected by not being here now, there are many crystals that you can utilize for support, but one of my favorites for this is Lepidolite. Lepidolite is wonderful for calming your frayed and frenetic energy by helping you shield yourself from overwhelming emotions. With your heightened ability to feel calm, you're able to step back from the intensity of the thoughts and emotions that are tugging at you to be mentally elsewhere, so you can relax into where you are. With its calming and stabilizing effects, it can support you in releasing anxiety about the future or past regrets, while fostering greater clarity, inner strength, and a sense of being in control of your emotions and reactions. Lepidolite can also act as an anchor, grounding you into the present moment and helping you stay focused on the here and now. If you're unsure what crystal will be a great support for you, remember you can always take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz to find out what crystal you could start working with now and how to get started. The quiz you can find linked in the show notes. When you work with me as a client, we focus on building a toolkit that empowers you in capturing your unhelpful thoughts and how they're being weaponized to keep you feeling stuck and then develop your confidence and self-safety to enable you to navigate life with more skill and with fewer moments of feeling distracted and disconnected from the things you desire to be doing. There are some pretty amazing shifts you can experience when you learn how to be here now. Imagine waking up each day feeling grounded and centered, with a mind free from overwhelming thoughts and emotions, because you've learned how to soothe your nervous system, quiet your negative inner voice, and cultivate a deep sense of trust and confidence within yourself. Maybe you start to notice a calmness or newfound resilience when you're faced with challenges, or instead of feeling drained by self-doubt and worry, you find yourself easily managing the push and pull of the demands in your life. Maybe with this newfound sense of calmness you experience, you notice that you're no longer easily triggered emotionally when things don't go the way you wanted them to, allowing you to respond more thoughtfully to the people around you instead of reacting impulsively, which allows you to foster healthier relationships and better communication. Or maybe you start being able to show yourself more compassion because you no longer listen to the self-criticisms that your brain keeps serving up in the course of your day, allowing you to experience more acceptance and appreciation for the amazing human that you are. And maybe you start to notice your inner wisdom and intuitive hits more clearly and regularly, enabling you to stop second guessing every choice and decision you make so you can enjoy being present in the moment. Instead, your intuition can become a valuable guide you can rely on and turn to when you feel pulled in multiple directions and want to be here now. Today's episode has been brought to you by Lepidolite and quantum superposition. May we all be calm and relaxed as we contemplate all the magnificence we are able to create and manifest in our lives. Blessed be, my friends. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self-Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.